quote, I feel better than I did 20 years ago. So, Dr. Jackson, do you think the president pushed to be given this drug or, frankly, any of his medications?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, I think we use dexamethasone in medicine, as you know, for a variety of things. A lot of things that have an inflammatory component, whether it's dermatological or pulmonary, asthma, other issues like that. We use dexamethasone frequently in medicine. It's by no means a new or experimental drug. It's been around forever. We're familiar with with its benefits and with its side effects. It's a safe drug to be taken in short duration, which is I'm sure the president's going to be on it for only a short period of time to get past this inflammatory component of this viral illness. So I'm not at all concerned about it. I don't think it's responsible for him feeling well. I think he's feeling well because he's better, because they've tied up some of the virus in his body, and they've given him these drugs that are making him well. And so I think he didn't have a fever anymore. So I think that it's good that he's taken that, but I don't think that it has anything to do with the fact that that he's that's responsible for his mood or anything like that. I think that he's doing well because he's being treated appropriately.
Dr. Jackson, in your opinion, do you think the president pressured medical staff to be released from the hospital earlier than a regular patient would have been allowed to go home?
Well, obviously, the president's like any other president or anybody else, that's in that role. He doesn't want to be in the hospital if he doesn't have to be in the hospital. That's human nature. And so I'm sure the president was anxious to get back to the White House, to get back home. He can do everything he needs to do from the hospital. But if any of us were in the hospital, we would prefer to be back in our office or back in our home instead of being in the hospital if we had that option. So I think that the medical team released him because it was the right thing to do. They were comfortable with his prognosis and with his progress to this point. He's going to be monitored really closely at the White House. That's not going to be a problem whatsoever. So it was a medically right decision, but I'm sure the president was anxious to get back home and get back to work in his environment.
Let's move on to what we know and don't know about the president's health. Some of the president's doctors said they could not share critical pieces of information regarding his health because of HIPAA violations, patient privacy. It highlights how being the president's doctor poses a unique challenge. He's a real patient, but he's also the president. So, Dr. Jackson, have any presidents you have worked with coached you on what you can say in public?
No, not at all. Absolutely not. And I think the way you get around that is you have conversations with the president beforehand. You go over all the objective information that you have from, his hospitalization and his illness, and you break it all down and you ask the president, what are you comfortable talking about? And it's been my experience, to be honest with you, President Trump has been comfortable talking about anything. When I did his physical, when I was getting ready to release his physical, I broke it down and I went over all the objective data we had, all the studies that we did, and I said, what do you want me to release? What do you not want me to release? Is there anything here that you would rather me just not address? I was going to talk to him about that, and I was going to give the public what they needed to know because that's part of my responsibility as his physician. But the president was wide open to me doing anything. He tell him everything, Ronnie. He didn't want to hide anything. So I'm pretty confident that the president is completely comfortable with the public knowing what's going on with him with regards to this particular illness, and they're not trying to cover up or hide anything. And I think that if the conversations take place, the president is perfectly comfortable with that information being released. And I think they've released everything they need to be quite honest. But I know the press is always going to push for more details.